Yo, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from New York. It's Saturday morning.
Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you at in the world. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for being here.
That's SNL's thing. We can technically borrow that, right?
That's very true.
Aren't they? They're live in New York, right? Like live from New York. It's Saturday night. Isn't that like their intro? I think we could borrow that because technically we got Alaska and then obviously New York as well. I think we could start opening that up with like live from New York. It's Saturday morning.
We got Oklahoma in the house. That's phenomenal. Thanks for being here, Connor.
Angel. Amazing. What's going on, guys? Hope everyone is having an amazing Saturday so far. We're going to be talking about some good stuff today. It's going to be really condensed in an hour. So we're going to try to get through as many things as we can. And if you guys have questions, we're talking about all things wholesaling, guys. So today's show is going to be super, super awesome. I'm going to be breaking down some do's and don'ts, maybe some myths or questions you guys have. Please interact with us. Interact in the chat, squad up. If there's anything that we can help you guys with, please let us know. We would love to put you guys up here. If you guys need a lender, if you guys need help closing a deal, if you guys need buyers, whatever that looks like for you guys, if there's something that we can help you with, let us put you guys up here. The only thing that we ask, this is a good example right here. See, from your guys' end, you guys are seeing everybody's name. But from our end, when you guys are commenting, I'm probably assuming you guys are seeing you guys are seeing this in a Facebook group. If you look right above where the video is being streamed in a Facebook group, in the description of the video, right at the very bottom, there's a link. And it says, click this link to grant StreamYard access to share your Facebook name or something along those lines. So please, Pensacola. Hell yeah.
That's a good market there. So yeah, absolutely. So just to let you guys know, we are streaming from YouTube, Facebook, and StreamYard as well. So wherever you at, just make sure you squatting up in the comments and getting to know each other, doing deals, whatever that may look like specifically. And as Jesse stated, we like to know whom we're speaking to so we can actually, connect you guys, whatever that may look like. For this individual, you're from San Diego, welcome to the show. San Diego, then we got San Antonio. We got people all over the world, which is phenomenal. So thanks for being here. This is amazing. We'd like to, definitely interact and do deals with you guys as well, and let us know how we can help in any way. We got Chicago in the building, Wisconsin. Anyone else? Nicole, great. Well, actually, thanks for being here. And 2, Wisconsin. I do know Becky is actually in Wisconsin, and she's doing a lot of we actually just closed with Becky yesterday. We just closed in Wisconsin yesterday. So, yeah, she's doing deals out there. They just closed, and it was a creative deal, subject to, which is pretty neat. So I'm not for sure if she's in the comments, but she's definitely a good one to squad up with. We got Michigan maybe it's just me.
Woo!
The Facebook user. We got Michigan. We got Montreal. Yeah, we got a lot of it. So yeah, guys, please let people know where you're watching from. Let's work together, not just us, squat up in the comments, let people know where you at, where you're doing deals at, and what you're actually doing, whether that's wholesaling, you're doing fix to flip, you're doing Airbnbs, you're whatever that may specifically look like, let people know. Definitely let people know. And if you are watching from StreamYard, please, as you already know, you'll get the live recording right afterwards. But if you want to go to the YouTube or one of our Facebook channels, there's more interaction over there versus StreamYard. I just want to throw that out there. So yeah, again, thanks for everyone being here. Today is going to be all about wholesaling, and not just wholesaling, networking and the do's and don'ts, and within wholesaling. So thanks for being here. You guys are amazing. Nicole, this is perfect right here. Already off to a great start. I love that.
If anybody's in that area, go meet up with Nicole.
Phenomenal.
Dude,
so guys,
the Super Bowl is next weekend, Chris? No, hold on.
No, it's this weekend.
Batman. Oh my gosh, it's tomorrow.
I literally just I kid you not, I just found out literally last night when I got a message from a buddy of mine. Literally messaged, "Hey, what are you doing for Super Bowl weekend?" And I'm so caught up in real estate. I totally forgot it was even this Sunday, which is tomorrow, and had no idea.
Dude, to be honest with you, I don't even know who's playing.
Me either, man. I have no idea. They always ask me, who are you betting on?
I feel really out of the loop. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. You know, when you got your nose to the grindstone and you're like, oh shit, the Super Bowl still is a thing. Yeah, I guess that is tomorrow, isn't it? Is anybody real quick? I'm always curious. Like, who's performing at the halftime? Does anybody know? Chiefs and Eagles are playing. Okay, cool.
Luke says
he's performing at halftime. I will be there with singles. Luke, appreciate you being here, man. Thank you, guys.
Rihanna. We got a Facebook user saying Rihanna. Okay, I don't know if that's true or not. It says Rihanna. We got Beatles, or is it both? Facebook. But no, guys. Again, I want to apologize for my internet. I truly thought we fixed it. I got either take it back to Apple or take it to Geek Squad. I don't know what to do. Maybe just get a new computer and call it a day. But it's not the internet now. It's definitely the computer. So we'll definitely see what that looks like.
Was Colin not having any issues?
No, not at all.
Dude, is his computer at the office? You gotta just
swap him out,
or have Colin come by and see if he can run around with an antenna. Running around something
there you
on
go.
his head or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
I gotta be right on top of the router.
Yeah, appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, we want to open this thing up as well. Chris and I got some things that we want to hit on, that we want to touch on, but we want this show to be today's show to be a lot of two-way communication. Not only with us, but if you guys have things that you need, that's why this show exists. That's why this is here. You guys have somewhere that you can go on a Saturday and we can give you a platform where if you guys need something, that's what we're here to do. That's what we want to do. So let us do that for you guys. So thank you guys again for being here. James, what up, Holmes? James is an awesome cat. Me and him used to be stationed together in the Air Force back almost 10 years ago now. Oh my gosh. It's been a hot minute. But him and his wife, Carlin, are holding it down in New Mexico. So if you guys have any deals that you come across that you guys need help with, or if you simply just need help closing a deal, James Hostert is freaking a wizard when it comes to locking things up in creative finance, all things creative finance. So make sure you guys, if you guys don't know who James is, go find him on the Bookface and on the Gram. I think that's what the kids are saying nowadays. Oh, it's Carlin. Carlin, why are you guys? Carlin, you need to start using your own account. She comes in and uses James's Zoom account too.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, we appreciate you guys being here regardless. Meet up with James and Carlin. Those guys are fantastic individuals. So let's talk real quick. Chris, I think getting into wholesaling, I think there needs to be if I had it over to do again and just kind of seeing the path that I've been on over the last couple of years, what worked, what hasn't worked, and just kind of my thought process behind it all. Dude, I would say mindset and having these paradigm shifts are so what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, pertinent. It's got to be non-negotiable. Would you agree? I mean, I know we talk about mindset and stuff all the time, man, but kind of what are some of the things that really impacted your mindset and was like, oh my gosh, wow. I understand this at a higher level now. I get it. And now I can go be more intentional with that. What are some of those things that when you were coming from the corporate world and diving into building a real estate business, what were some of those paradigm shifts that you had, man?
Understanding that if you're really trying to be successful, or not just be successful, just more so, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you have to change what you're doing. You had to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. And, mindset is one thing, but really, really taking a thorough understanding of what that really looks like is essential. And, coming, as you just stated, coming from a corporate world, it's totally different. it literally coming from you guys don't that. If you guys don't know, I was in the hospitality restaurant industry, and coming from a corporate atmosphere, you always was told what to do, right? You was always told what to do. These are the
Oh my
procedures.
gosh,
These are
yes.
the, SOPs. This is exactly what needs to be done to run a restaurant. This is exactly what needs to be done to run 7 locations. Versus trying to go out and do it on your own. It's a totally different ball game. So it's a mind shift. You're not waking up at the time they tell you to wake up. You're not waking up, you're not clocking in and out on a daily basis. It's very different. And going the shift for me specifically was receiving my first check.
Mm.
It really was. And the fact of, just not, I would say at that time, beginning truthfully, I was going through the motions to see if this even because everybody think about wholesaling, is it illegal, is it a scam and all this other stuff, but actually receiving that first check, it's a different ball game. And cashing that first check, receiving that money in my hands, making sure nobody's after me, because to make sure the check is real. So it's a different ball game. And actually receiving that dollar amount, it's a game changer. Transparently, a lot of people know, I talk about all the time in the corporate world. Imagine, I'll tell you what I was making. I was making about $70,000 a year. Imagine that, making that in one check, or making that every month or every 2 months versus entire year. That's a totally different mindset change. And it goes into like a different atmosphere where people think, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that's not true. Get around the right people, and really, if you set your goals up and your objectives and exactly what that really looks like, you can achieve it. You can't, if people are telling you can't, you need to get away from them 100%. And Luke, 100% confidence was a big thing. That was for me. I wasn't confident at the beginning. I was so nervous. I'm thinking about what people are going to think about me. What is my family going to think? They transparent. A lot of people in my family don't even know what I do, but they think they don't got a job or unemployed or whatever that may look like. But specifically, my mindset changed to where once I received that first check in wholesaling, I knew for a fact this is a game changer, and I can really do whatever I want to do. Which led me to wholesaling, which led me to, doing fix and flips with my business partners. It led me to, sourcing out Airbnbs, going into multifamily. It became so powerful. Like literally the sky is the limit. And that's why I always tell people, and myself, Jesse and Colin, our third business partner, we tell people all the time, don't limit yourself. Don't do that. Why would you want to limit yourself? I had a great conversation with one of my good friends from high school. We graduated yesterday. He's actually a doctor locally to me at Strong Memorial Hospital. And he's making great money for a doctor. He's probably watching this, probably think like, I hope he's not gonna say what I think he's gonna say, but I'm gonna keep your name out. So I know how much he makes, right? And I told him, some of the things I was doing with my business partners, Jesse and Colin, and he thought that was amazing. He wants to actually be a lender for us, and he was kind of shocked of what that even looks like. Because transparently, he told me how much he make a year, and I told him, I said, what if I told you myself and Jesse made $120,000 in 2 months? Would you believe me? And he said no. And a lot of people don't, right? A lot of people don't. Exactly. But the truth be told, Jesse and I, our goal, we're planning the net $1 million this year, net
this year, yeah.
And just wholesaling alone. Just wholesaling alone. That's not including our Airbnb, like any fix and flips, any multifamily, anything related to that, right? So I didn't have that same mindset working at the hospital. I mean, not working at the hospital, working in the hospitality restaurant industry. But I'm sorry, I kind of geared away a little bit. But as I was talking to one of my good friends, he definitely stated, like, how is that even possible? I thought going into real estate, is only the way you can make money is as an agent. And a lot of people don't understand, I'm not an agent. A lot of people don't know. I mean, a lot of people know that, but there's so many different ways you can get into real estate without having your license, Would I ever get my license in New York? Not at all. Not at all. Don't plan on it. Now, would I potentially get it in Florida? I don't know. I'm like 60% sure I probably won't, but at the same time, surround yourself with the right people. I guarantee you don't need to have your license. For instance, Jesse, he's my business partner, right? He's in Alaska. We sourced out another listing agent who lives in Alaska to list our property, and we got $150,000 of equity. That's Jesse and I's. That's ours, right? Essentially, it's like you don't have to do this to make a lot of money. I just don't want you guys to limit yourself. Like you have to go through this long course. And if you're an agent out there, I'm not knocking you. We work with you a lot. 80% of our 80 to 70% of our deals come from agents. Would you agree? I was 70, 80% about comes from agents. We work with you guys. There's a lot of agents out there that don't understand the creative finance world, but that's something that we really love. The creative finance, getting on the phone with a seller or literally specifically talking to, an agent and they don't understand creative finance. I love that because essentially, we're opening their mind up to something brand new. And I think, if they're open to that conversation, the agent's going to make a lot more money in the long run versus just doing the traditional way. Jesse and I, truth be told, we're going through a little hiccup over in Alaska because the title company is not familiar with the way of creative finance. If someone doesn't understand the way of creative finance, find somebody who do. That is it. Like, for instance, Jesse and I, we're switching title companies. That is it. We don't just stop and just think like the world's about to end. No, that's not the case. Our fix and flip, we listed it. What would you say? We listed it on a Friday. We actually got it on a contract on a Tuesday. And it was a very quick fix and flip. People think the market has stopped. Not in all markets. Jesse and I, we got a great market we're doing. And we went into that property with $150,000 of equity in our pocket already. And I don't really talk about money that much, but it's the truth, right? Sometimes people always talk about the great things. And one thing Jesse and I, we're going to start talking about over the next couple of weeks on our show is more so, some of the failures. People got to understand some of the failures and the obstacles because that's how you're going to grow. People always like to post all the great things that's happening, but what about the behind the scenes stuff? How can you overcome that? What's some of the obstacles you could have did different? Like there's so many different things you could have done. And I'm just thankful that, I have a business partner as Jesse and our other one, Colin, because we have 3 different personalities, but we mesh together so well. So well. And I wouldn't be business partners with anybody else. Jesse went through other business partners. I went through other business partners. So did Colin. And then literally, I'm very thankful for where I'm at. I'm very humble and grateful. Right. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. And what I'm just to bring all this back home is more so don't limit yourself. If someone's telling you can't do something or that's too much money or that's not enough money, get away from them. Which brings me back to my, I talked to my friend who works at the doctor who stated like, when I told him like I spent thousands like dollars going to like different events. I spent a minimum of $12,000 just to go to one event. He said that's too much because he had that mindset of somebody else telling him don't spend that much. Once you start investing in yourself, I guarantee your life will start changing. Guarantee it. That happened to Jesse and I. Jesse and I actually invested in actually a mastermind last year, and specifically we spent I want to say about $12,000, and that's where we met. And literally, specifically from there, our business skyrocketed. We're making 3 times more than that. So we already got it back. And people don't understand. Like I always tell people, like, who is telling you this information? Who is really telling you this information that you can't do this, you can't do that? Don't spend $1,000. Don't spend $500 to do this. I literally just spent $300 yesterday to invest in a public speaking course yesterday. Truth be told, right?
Woo,
somebody,
dude.
And that's just something that I want to do, right? It's uncomfortable thing for me that people don't know that I don't like speaking in front of crowds, but I do all the time, and that's something that I'm going to have to get used to. So I got no other choice. So there's little things like that. Like a lot of people won't do it, but one thing I can't always say this, but I can't remember if it was Mario or Zach who stated this, but I won't ever forget it. He definitely stated that never take advice from someone who you are not willing to trade places to. And I'm a firm believer in that. Like if you're taking advice from someone who's, no offense to people who work at McDonald's or fast food chains, if you're taking advice for somebody who works there and they tell you, oh, you can't do this, well, why are you listening to them? Versus like if you're like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I want everybody just to bring this back on home. I'm sorry, I know it was like a longer answer, but more so I just wanted to touch on that specifically. Like, guys, just don't limit yourself. You know, Jesse and I, we push ourselves to the limit on a date, like every single day. We push ourselves. And that's one thing we like to do. We like to be uncomfortable. We really love to put ourselves in certain situations that we've never been in before, because one, we like to coach, develop, train. We like to guide others in the right direction. And we definitely specifically want to make sure that everyone doesn't, push, go in the wrong direction. SuperMario, welcome to, good to see you. Good to see you, man. SuperMario, if you guys are not following SuperMario, he's a phenomenal individual. He's based in Florida. He does his Zooms Monday through Friday. And I believe it's the same time from, was it 8 to 9, or did the times change again? I know during the holidays last year it changed, but SuperMario is a phenomenal individual. Chris Voss, yes, it came from him. Never take advice from someone that basically you're not willing to trade places with. And I'm a firm believer at that, because it really is true. It's so true.
I love what you said, man, because I feel like I can resonate with that so much. You have a lot of people, you grow up in the corporate world, or you grow up in any typical W-2, right? Where you are told, hey, this is what you have to do. This is when you show up on time. This is when your break is. This is when you can eat. This is when you go home, right? And for most people, that's how most people spend their entire lives, is being told what to do. And it's interesting, because when you're on the other side of it, when it's your responsibility to get out there and to start making phone calls, to start getting uncomfortable, start building relationships. If you're not somebody who, what my mom would call a social butterfly, for some people, that building those relationships might be kind of hard. But that's where the line in the sand is between, hey, do you want to be on this side of the road, or do you want to go and live on the other side of the road? And it's really interesting. I love what Chris said, and I love what Mario said, man. I freaking love this effing quote. I can't tell you, because I spent 14 years in the military. So talk about being told, when I could blow my nose, for 14 years. Jumping into this was particularly hard for me. It was a huge paradigm shift, because for the majority of my adult life, I was told what to do and when to do it, and what I could do and what I was capable of doing. And so if somebody thought that I wasn't worthy of a promotion, or even if they did, that fate, my income was determined from somebody else's opinion. It wasn't really based on my own merits. And there came a point, like Chris said, like you hit this paradigm shift, and getting that first check is such a huge proof of concept, that you can see it, you can feel it, you can spend it. You can take your family to go do whatever. You guys go book a cruise. You guys can go to Disneyland. You go do whatever with it. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually real. I got this proof of concept down. This is awesome. This is something I can finally do. So that, coupled with the thought of, am I being paid what I'm worth? Am I being paid what I'm worth? Just that question alone was enough to make me be like, no.
Yeah.
And I remember going into work, man, and people would talk about like crypto. I mean, crypto has been pretty big for like the last 10 years. And I remember going into work, and people were talking about crypto this, crypto that, right? Especially in the last, 3, 4, 5 years, everyone's been talking about crypto. And I remember, 5 years ago going into work, and everyone's talking about, hey, did you throw money into this one? Did you throw money into that one? You should do this. You should do that. Oh, no, I know what I'm talking about, bro. But then it all comes back to what Chris and Mario was talking about. When you look at that person at work and they're telling you what to do with your financial decisions.
Right.
They're telling you what to do with your money. And if you don't do it, you are stupid. The only thing you need to ask yourself at that point is, oh my gosh, when I look at this person, are they somebody that I'm willing to switch places with? And when I say that, I don't mean that literally, guys. I don't mean like, oh my gosh, would you switch places with them and have their wife, their house, their kids, their car? Like, that's not what I'm talking about. Okay. I just want to be really specific and really clear. We're not talking about wife swapping here. Okay. We're talking about when you see that person doing and the way that they are living and the way that they're contributing and the value that they're bringing. Are they the type of individual you look at them and you say, wow, that's what I want to do? That's what I want to be doing. And if the answer is no, then dude, done. Next. And there's an amazing book, guys. There's an amazing book. And I know we're going to get to wholesaling, guys, but Chris and I feel so much that after everything that we've experienced, and we're still learning every transaction, we are still learning something new, guys. Every wholesale transaction we do, there's something that happens in that transaction where we're like, oh, wow, learn something.
Yep.
And mindset and having that paradigm shift and acknowledging that this is possible is pertinent. It's got to be non-negotiable. And there's a book, Angel, I'm trying to find it. Angel commented, and I wanted to display it so you guys could screenshot it if you wanted to read it, but it's called Tribe of Millionaires. Oh, here it is. Find Your Tribe of Millionaires. There's a book. It's called Tribe of Millionaires. If you guys have not heard of it or if you have not read it, I highly encourage you, get that book today. It's a phenomenal book, and it really just hammers down on a lot of the things that Chris and I are talking about right now. And it's going to help with that, building that mindset foundation for you guys to continue building upon. But you have to first believe that it's possible. Okay, I know we got the Super Bowl next week. I've got friends. I occasionally see posts and stuff through Facebook. Not a lot of my friends, or most of my friends on Facebook now, are all kind of real estate. So anytime I get on Facebook, my feed is all more or less real estate related. But occasionally, I'll see a couple people that are talking about the game, and that's great and all. But I like to think of myself as the kind of guy, I don't wear other people's jerseys. I wear my own jersey. And when I understood that, like you guys get the reference that I'm making here, and I want to go find other people where they want to wear their own jerseys. Those are the people that I want to go surround myself with. And when you look at how the 99% of the rest of the populace is spending their time and who they're surrounding themselves with, all the guys are getting together on a Sunday afternoon watching football, barbecuing, and they're all wearing somebody else's jersey. Well, what do you think the conversations are revolving around? I guarantee their health, their weight, their finances, they're probably all pretty close to being in the same ballpark. And that's why this book is so pertinent, because that for a lot of people, that's their tribe. They go hang out with the guys. They go hang out. You guys do like, and I'm not saying like you guys can't do that. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I mean, Chris and I love getting together with friends and families and watching a game, having barbecues and all that kind of stuff. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. But when that is when that is the type of atmosphere that you're spending the majority of your time, that's where you start becoming the average of those things. So we need to be very intentional with our mindset. You guys need to find your tribe of millionaires. I know this says James. For everybody who wasn't here before, this is actually Carlin. She is coaching this game. Her daughter says, Jasmine says it should be billionaires. I love that. I get a 1% commission bump when I have a book of business of $500,000 annually gross revenue. 1%. One big reason I'm here. Love that, dude. Yvonne says, find your tribe of millionaires. Love that. So moving on, unless you guys have any more questions, because Chris and I can talk about mindset all day, but we want to get more into wholesaling. But so Chris, you get your first big check You're like, oh my gosh, this is possible. I can go buy a jet ski now. What do you do after that? What do you do after that? What are some of the things that if you had to go back and you had to redo it, looking back, like what are some of the things that you acknowledge now that like, hey, oh my gosh, now that I'm at this level now, looking back, this is what I thought wholesaling was, or this is what I thought things like wholesaling entailed, and it actually doesn't. And I'll give you an example real quick. I'll answer before you do real quick. But like I was talking with somebody yesterday, for example, getting more specific into wholesaling. They were talking about what were we talking about? I think we were talking about qualifying and disqualifying people and going through lists and things like that. And I remember when I first got into wholesaling, everybody started using VAs. Like that was like the thing. And dude, I was in the military. Dude. I was like, I don't know what the hell a VA is. What the crap is a VA? They're like, oh man, you hire these people and they work for you and they do whatever you want. And I was like, oh shit, man, that's like some CEO shit. Okay, all right, that's what everybody's doing. I'm gonna go hire a VA. So I went and hired a VA, and then I went and I got a dialer. I got like 3 or 4 or 5 other systems. Was skip tracing these lists that were like 15,000, 20,000 prospect lists. And each time I was skip tracing a list, bro, I mean, I was spending $1,500 just skip tracing freaking lists. We'd send them to the VA. The VA would go through them, and we wouldn't get a deal. We wouldn't get it. Nothing would happen of it. A month would go by. They'd go through those leads, and I remember just looking back, like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? Because I was getting in my situation, I remember I was getting like 10 leads a day, dude. I was getting 10 leads a day, and I was asking everybody else. And I was like, hey, how many leads are you guys getting? How many leads are you guys getting a day? What are you guys doing? Texting, cold calling, whatever that looks like. And they're like, oh yeah, we usually get about 2 to 3 warm leads a day. And my mind, I was like, I was like, dude, I've got like the best VA in the world, man. Like, you guys suck. My VA is killing it. And lo and behold, come to find out, guys, I'll give you an example. I thought that was a big thing. That's what I thought wholesaling was. I thought it was you hire a VA, you give them a script, and you just say go. That's not at all what wholesaling is. And it took me $15,000 to figure that out. Because then after spending 15 grand, I had to come back and be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong here? What is not working? And come to find out, there was a lot of things that I was doing wrong. So for example, now, right, because you spend that money. This is a perfect example, actually, Chris, as why financial literacy is so important. And understanding things and getting into the nitty gritty of these things and having your tribe, having people to fall back on. Because it's a perfect example as to why people can spend money, lose money, like a lottery winner. They get money, they lose it, and then that's it. But you have a business owner who loses $1 million. He gains it right back just like that. And then some. Because there's this paradigm shift, right? So I want to kind of draw those parallels real quick while kind of sharing a little bit of my story and some of the things that I thought wholesaling was when it actually wasn't, or some of the do's and don'ts of wholesaling. And there's a lot of people that I talk to that hire VAs. And they're like, oh no, this company that I have a VA with, like they train the VA. And so I just give them the script. And I think that is 100% the wrong way to go about it.
Couldn't agree more.
It's your business.
Right.
It's your business. You are literally putting the livelihood of your business, the financial needs of your business in somebody else's hand and assuming that, hey, this person's going through this script with my VA. So understanding things, going back to that story I was telling you guys where I started getting 10 leads in a day. You want to know why that was? Let me give you an example. I came home from work one day and I'm following up on a lead and I'm going through the notes and I'm listening to the call. It was so funny. But he's like, my VA calls about this property. And the gentleman was like, actually, you know what? that property is no longer for sale. I'm not interested in selling that property anymore, but I do have another one. And he starts getting information about the property. He's like, yeah, I've got a tenant in there. He's going to be out in November. And he starts just going off about it. He's telling me all about this property and he's telling the VA all about the property, the tenant, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, let me take this back to my partner. And oh wait, actually, one thing I need the address. Guys, guess what the address was? Now, throughout this phone call, he's describing this big, beautiful house, super big, this big, white, amazing freaking house. It's currently being rented. Said a tenant was in there. His lease is up in November. He might go out. He might renew his lease. Not really sure.
Would it happen to be in DC?
It was in DC. How did you know?
I know.
The address was 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, to be exact. Now, all my VA heard was, oh my gosh, Jesse's going to be freaking stoked. I've got somebody who is just ready to sell their house. Great property. It's in great condition. There's a tenant in there. Everything is good. He might renew his lease. Guys, it was the freaking White House. I about freaking died. It was so amazing. But I shared this story because this is just a perfect example of things that you have to be cognizant of. You have to be the one to be committing to your VA. You have to be the one to be developing that company culture. And that includes, of course, training them. They don't understand. They're from another part of the world. They don't understand American sarcasm.
Yep.
They don't understand American culture. And you have to be the one to kind of reinforce that and talk about those and gives examples of those. Were they open to creative?
That's right. That is hilarious. That's actually pretty funny.
It was pretty good. I called him back. I obviously wasn't motivated, but I called him back and I didn't even say anything. I just said, hey, my name is Jesse. You talked to an individual in my company about a property on 1600 Pence. Hey, I just wanted to tell you thank you, man. I got a good laugh at that. It doesn't sound like you're really interested in selling the property we called about, but it was pretty funny. So, but anyway, but that's as a prime example of why I was getting 10 leads a day. These were not leads. These were people who were not motivated. But there's a lot of people who jump into wholesaling and they go in and do exactly what I did. They go and hire a VA. They go and stack lists. They pay for systems. And then they're completely hands off. They're like, oh, I've got somebody else training my VA. So you're leaving the entire financial responsibilities, essentially. The entire profitability of this business is in the hands of one person, and you're assuming that he's training your VA right. So for me, that was an example that was very instrumental for me as a CEO, as a business owner, and making sure that my team is communicating. We're talking more than just once a week, but that includes constant communication with our VA as well, and going through these and having phone calls and you need to make sure that you're developing that right company culture. That's one thing that I've loved about Pace, and you guys see it already. If you guys are in his community, you guys are already seeing the company culture that he has overflows into this community. I think there's over 80,000 people in this thing now. Isn't there, Chris?
Yep.
In that creative group?
Just about. I think about 78, 79, just about.
Man, that is crazy.
It is crazy because literally just as you just stated that, I think when I first initially got into real estate in the Pace Morbid community, I think it was only like 30. Like literally 30,000 people in that free group, let alone our private mentorship.
I think there was 5,000 for me, or somewhere in that ballpark, maybe slightly north of that.
Yeah,
crazy though, man. Oh my gosh. But the company
Yeah,
culture
100%.
that he has developed overflows into everything that he's doing, man. It's just so infectious. It's absolutely amazing. And so when we're talking about wholesaling, it's not just the act of going out there and calling people. You need to make sure that you guys are building a solid foundation that you can build from, as opposed to starting something, you get your first wholesale check, but then everything falls apart. And then hopefully you learn something, right? And then you build it again, something falls apart. Maybe that's partnership. Maybe that's just you by yourself doing things. And it's like, oh, this isn't working. Let me go try and talk to somebody else. Like, you have to be really, really intentional. And so that's why me and Chris, that's why we can't hammer down enough. When you guys come in here, you guys are really active in the comments, because your relationship, a conversation with one person could change your entire life. It could change your entire business.
Absolutely.
The obstacles and the bottlenecks in your guys' business that you're facing right now could be solved from somebody in this show right now, watching this show.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, whoops. I think we both clicked at the same time.
You're good, man. Facebook user, please grant StreamYard access so we can see your name. We love to know who we're speaking to. So I think this kind of gears back to what Jesse just kind of went over a little bit. You know, he made a $15,000 learning lesson. You know, initially people would take it as like something they regret, but I don't think Jesse's taking it that way. More so specifically, he's taking it as a learning lesson, a growth stone of what not to do, and show other people, what that really looks like. But Facebook user is asking, should you get a VA for your wholesaling business right from the start, or find the script that works for you and then go get the VA train accordingly? So if I was to answer this, I do got my opinions about VAs. And if those who don't know what a VA is, it's a virtual assistant in the real estate industry. It's not like it's a VA related to military or anything like that. But in this case, it's going out hiring a virtual assistant to either help you cold call, either text, do social media, whatever that specifically may look like. So in this case, if it all depends if you have more time or do you have more money. I think it gears back to that. A lot of people who's working 9 to 5s or overnights or jobs or sometimes don't have the time to actually call, right? So they need to hire or source out someone to make those calls for them during the meantime while you're at work. And as far as the script part, there's 100 different scripts out there. Depending on what your business is or what market it is, we got millions of scripts we can send you. Like, for instance, when we did have VAs, we always tell them, my biggest thing, it's not a script. This is just a guideline. Just have a conversation with these guys. We used to joke around all the time. Like, I don't want you to sound like a robot talking to these people. And I was so serious. Like, I joked around about it, and they were, they definitely understand what I was going for. But, everyone knows if you have a VA or a virtual assistant, they have thick accents. So sometimes it can come off as scamish. So literally specifically, if you tell your VAs or whoever you have in the lead management or, some kind of acquisition stage, if they have a script, let them know to use it as a guideline. Just have a normal conversation. The way myself, Jesse, and communicating with you right now, that's the same way you need to be communicating with the other agent or seller that you're on the phone with. So training accordingly, 100%. You definitely got to be 100. You got to be hands-on. No offense or bust about it. That's one mistake I made within my first journey going into the wholesaling and real estate industry, is I was hands off. I had I hired actually 3 VAs, and literally was a CSM manager, was basically an individual who is a manager over the VAs who oversees them. But the CSM manager basically conducted weekly meetings, and I switched it to having daily meetings, not just with the CSM manager, but also the 3 VAs, that individual, and also my team, due to the fact of you only gonna be the one that's going to be able to push your business forward, right? You can't, like Jesse stated earlier, you can't let somebody else dictate that for you. They don't have the same vision that you have in your head. So essentially, we moved from like once a week to 5 days a week. And that was something that really helped our business, because essentially we understand exactly the communication. There's different articulations that you need to put into place that sometimes they don't know how to say. There's different wording they can't say correctly, because that's just the way they That's just their, the way they were brought up, and that's the way they talk, and that's totally fine. So we have to, have those one-on-one coaching and training moments with our, employees, or if you want to call it that, or VAs, depending on which one you have, is just let them know specifically, be yourself. If you be yourself in every conversation, you'll get further along versus just reading off a script and saying, if you got 9 questions, you tell us, oh, what's the condition of your property? No, you don't do that. Just have a normal conversation and understand exactly what they're the motivation, all that stuff. Like literally, you might hop on the phone with a seller and they might tell you if you got 10 questions, they may tell you number 10, 9, 4, and 1. And then you're trying to go down the list. You're going to sound like a robot. So just be careful with that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't see the grants here. I don't see why the grants. That means you didn't register, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and on it.
I think maybe he wasn't here when we described it. So if you're watching this inside of a Facebook group, then just in the description of the video, which is right above where you're watching this live, just hit that description. There's going to be a long thing that pops up about kind of what the show is about. But at the very bottom of that, there's going to be a link. It says, click this link to grant StreamYard access or Facebook access to share your name or something along those lines. But that's what Chris is talking about.
So yeah, the one thing that Jesse explained what things that changed for him, but for me specifically, it was more so doing it alone. I tried to do it alone and it didn't work out, right? So, those who already know specifically already know that I joined, Cody Spurbert first, clever investor. He was, in my eyes, the wholesaling king at the time. And not saying he's not great. He's an amazing individual. I was in his mentorship. I think he has some pretty neat things, but he wasn't the creative finance guy. In my eyes, at that specific time, he wasn't. And again, this was a couple of years ago, but more so now looking back, would I ever change anything? No. I won't change anything because I think everything does happen for a reason. And it wasn't my time to know about creative finance when I was at Cody Spurbert. My time was just to learn the basics about wholesaling. And that's what I was doing. And after I joined his mentorship, spent a couple $1,000. Then I joined pro wholesaling course, which was Alex Martinez with his brother Ryan Martinez. That was specifically based on all market deals. And then once I realized, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I got the shiny object syndrome. I'm going from course to course, and then I went to Pace Morby, and then from Pace Morby, my business skyrocketed. And I'm not just saying that I don't work for Pace. I don't want you guys to understand. I'm not trying to like promote Pace or anything like that, but truly, my business skyrocketed from joining his mentorship. From joining his mentorship, I went to several masterminds. Joining his mentorship, I met amazing people, networking, learning about, truly, you can't do it alone. You need a community. And not like, just I kid you not, it was just surreal what really happens. Like a lot of people that probably saw my post the other day or my story that specifically I would have never closed on a triplex without the community. And guess how much money out of my own pocket? Not a single dollar. Not a single dollar.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. And literally every person that was involved was a sub-2 student. My private money lender was a sub-2 student, is a sub-2 student. The agent is a sub-2 student who brought me the property. And the wholesaler who was actually knew the agent, who knew I potentially would buy it in Pennsylvania, is a sub-2 student. So everyone involved was a sub-2 student. And that's the community. And I know for a fact in other communities, I could not do that. Right. And it's phenomenal where literally I can just, go into our private community, try to not just make a post, but put myself around the right people who just want to do dope shit. I'm just gonna say it. They want to do great things in life. They want to see everyone be successful. They want to, just surround yourself with like-minded individuals. People say that and people don't understand like what like-minded is. And that's another conversation for another day. But just surround yourself with people that initially are doing things you want to be doing. That's the way I'm gonna put it in this case, but that was a perfect example. More so, like literally, from doing it alone back when I was in my Cody Spurbert days and Clever Investor, and doing it right now, every single deal since my first deal ever, I did alone, and I struggled. Ever since then, I can't even count how many deals I did. thus far. I know successful we have closed in over 18 states, but I know is above 30. A minimum of 30 that I if I like pull out the records and see exactly what that looks like, but I just over literally over 17 states we closed successfully, and literally every single deal we have done with the JV, right? Not alone. I would never thought in a million years myself and Jesse would be, communicating with, the negotiations about motels, hotels, laundromats, like hopping on Zooms with the sellers to get that. I would never thought in a million years. I thought it was all about single family houses and, duplexes, the basic stuff, right? And not, let me rephrase that. I shouldn't downplay that, right? There's nothing wrong with single families and duplexes, but it just, talking at a higher level about laundromats, how you can cash flow about $16,000 a month on just one establishment is phenomenal, and then taking that over is just surreal, right? And then let alone hotels, motels, Jesse and I, in our multifamily thing, talking to people who has 152 unit, that's a totally different ball game, right? But surrounding yourself with the right people, that can happen. That can definitely happen, and I wouldn't change that for the world. I struggled in the beginning, and I still have my obstacles along the way on a daily basis, and that's normal. I want those. I look for those obstacles. I look for the uncomfortable positions because I want to be in those positions. Because as a CEO and a leader, I need to understand how to, one, not let it happen again. Two, learn from it. Three, be able to coach and train other individuals not to do what we did, right? And that's why, kind of stated earlier in the beginning of the show that, Jesse and I were going to start talking a little bit more about like some failures and some obstacles. And because you got to think about it, I can't name one billionaire or successful individual who have not failed. And I can't. Jesse, can you?
Actually, now that you mention it, contrary to popular belief, just off the top of my head, I cannot.
Too funny. Facebook user, can you talk about the difference between a VA and hiring someone who is a commission-based salesperson? Yes. It all depends on your business. So initially, like within our business, right? It all depends on your business, how you scale up. We talk to a lot of higher level individuals who's got a business that's making like 6-7 figures a month, right? And it all depends on your specific business. If you're hiring a VA to cold call, and let's just separate it this way. So the difference could be depending on your operation. If you're bringing in volume, then yes, you can have them on a commission base. That's usually the best case scenario, unless you're at a point where you want to be hands off. You really want to scale your business at 6-7 figures a month. You're going to have to start hiring an operations manager to be on base pay or commission, whatever that specifically may look like. So it really all depends on your business. I know that's kind of a general answer, but it really does. Like literally, because you can have an acquisition team under you, and then you can have a dispositions team. And then also, if you're hiring a VA are base pay. VAs are not commission based. Angel Miller, good to see you here again. People think the accountability is different. People think about accountability differently. You need to be with people who not only celebrate your wins, but press you into the uncomfortable. I love this. She's 100% right. 100% right. And when I say I cannot agree more, due to the fact of I've been around people who fake celebrate with me, that state they're happy for me. And I know truly they're not. And every day I put a smile on my face, and every day I'm a happy person. I'm always outgoing. I love, to have a great time. I'm that individual that literally wants to always want to see the great in everyone. But truly, you will know who's really celebrating with you in your corner. And me, I don't talk much about it. I really don't talk much about it. Like I know I can go down the list of people I know for a fact says congratulations all the time, and I know truly they don't really care. There's people that's probably watching our show on a weekly basis, never comment, never like, never share, hate us. Hate us. And that is okay. That is totally okay.
What's interesting, Chris, is just going along with what you were saying, like when you kind of start separating yourself from like people you used to work with or people you used to hang out with, and start spending your time in a different avenue, in a different atmosphere. It's interesting as you start making that separation.
Yep.
It's, Facebook and social media it's a double-edged sword, man. It's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of fakeness and shit out there, but it's interesting because there's a lot of people that maybe this is the same for you as well, but I know it is for me. There's a lot of people that I used to hang out with, that I used to talk to, and there's no bad blood or anything. Like we just kind of stopped talking because I kind of started, spending my time elsewhere.
Right.
And
right.
it's interesting, but they don't ever reach out to you. They don't ever see how you're doing. They don't really care, but at the same time, they're the ones that watch everything that you post.
Yep.
All the stories on Instagram and Facebook, you can see everybody that's watching that shit. They see every single one on there. But that like they're just watching you, not because they're genuinely interested or happy for you, but they just want to see you fail.
100%. 100%. It just, it's just truthfully 3-4 years ago, I would have cared, right? I would have really cared. But where our mindset is now, it's okay. Everyone can't like what you do. Everyone can't resonate what you do. But what they could do is just respect what you're trying to do. And I'm okay with that. Like, there's a lot of people I don't resonate with, and that's okay. But genuinely, I'm going to cheer them on. Whatever that may be, whatever that may look like. Because at the end of the day, everyone I want around me, I want everyone to be successful. And whatever success means to you, I want that for you. That is it. Whether that's $50,000 a year, that's great. Be successful at $50,000 a year. If it's $50 million a year, be successful at $50 million. But everyone has different definition of success. So, it's just, I'm glad, Jesse, you just pinpointed that out, because that's so true. Like, a lot of people watch, but they just waited for you to fail.
I think that's a hard mindset barrier for a lot of people when they start jumping into this. They don't want to advertise it on Facebook. They don't want to say that they're doing real estate because they're like, oh man, I have no idea what my friends from high school are going to think.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's like, dude, your friends from high school aren't paying your mortgage every month, man. It's just, and I get it. I get it. Is there anybody else? Let me know in the comments. Is there anybody else that resonates with this? Is there anybody else that can relate with this? Like, I know that was like Chris said, that's part of once you acknowledge that and you can grow from that, that's part of building that mindset and callousing your mind, as David Goggins would say. So you get to this point where you acknowledge, you're like, hey, you know what? Jesse is the villain in somebody else's story. And that's okay. There's a story that I shared, and I'll share it with you guys real quick if you guys haven't heard it or if you haven't seen it. But I shared this on my social media a while, or maybe it was a week or two ago. But there is a father and his son and a donkey, and they're walking into town, and they pass a group of people, and they hear that those group of people, they start snickering and talking shit. And they're like, why do those guys have a donkey if they're not even going to use it? So the father puts the son on the donkey and he keeps walking. Another group of people pass and he's like, I can't believe that son is letting his older father just walk while he's riding the donkey. And so the father switches place with him. Father gets on the donkey, the son is walking, and they start walking. And then another group of people passes. And they start snickering again. And they're like, oh my gosh. What? Why would this father let his son walk while he's riding a donkey? And so what does the father do? He grabs his son and he puts his son on the donkey with him. Keeps going, and another group of people pass. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that father would subject that donkey to the weight of two individuals. Does he even care? So the point is, guys, if you want to be successful, if you want to get out of your comfort zone, if you want to do big things, if you want to build a business, you got to work on your mindset. And sometimes that includes no matter what decision you choose to do, no matter what you choose to think or how you choose to act, be it good, bad. I mean, you could do everything with the most right intentions. But to somebody else in somebody else's story, you are always going to be the villain.
100%.
Let me rephrase that. You're not always going to be the villain, but in somebody else's story, you will always be a villain.
So true.
So you got to get over that. You've got to get over that.
And I had to get over it the hard way because I really thought about it, like more so specifically, if I really dwell on what they're saying about me or how I communicate or even just how I look, that's not going to, what is that going to change? I'm not going to get plastic surgery tomorrow because of what they said. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I think that's well said, man. Definitely well said. James or Carlin, depends who's on right now. Sorting out the people who care about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Look.
It looks like there's a lot of people that resonate with this.
Yeah,
well, that's great. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for being here. If you guys, we probably got about 5 minutes left, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. But I like Chris said, this was kind of more or less an introduction to the do's and don'ts of wholesaling. And for a lot of this, Chris and I understand that mindset is so pivotal for a lot of reasons. It could be as simple as making the decision just to tell somebody else or put it on social media because you want to connect with somebody, but you're afraid at the same time that somebody else might see this.
Yep.
So this will be kind of a series about the do's and don'ts of wholesaling that we're going to continue going down this road with. And we're also going to be hammering it down a lot of the not just the wins, guys, but the wrong things, the bad things, the nitty and gritty, the behind the scenes.
100%.
So we really appreciate you guys being here. If you guys have any other questions within the next 4 minutes that you guys would like to know, or if you guys need help with something, please let us know. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeffrey, we appreciate you guys being here as well, because at the end of the day, we really, want to make sure, one, you guys are being the best version of you, whatever that may look like specifically, and ensuring that, however we can help. Again, guys, if you're ever looking for anything in regards to our website is Third Mind REI. It's almost like real estate in the box. I kid you not. We do a lot of different things, and we got to the point where we can really make sure you guys are taken care of, whether that's acquisitions, whether that's dispositions, whether that's transaction coordinating, financing. Again, as you guys already know, we launched our lending division, so we are a bank, and we could finance whatever that specifically may look like. We just relaunched our short-term loans as well, so Mark will be coming on. Yep. And we would be.
I thought you said we lost our lending division.
No.
I was like, this is news to me, bud.
No. No, we launched our short-term rental loans literally 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So we get Mark, our loan officer. He's going to be coming on and talk about that within the next coming weeks. But more so specifically, we're here to help, whatever that may look like. I get Mark and one who goes in. Yeah, thanks for that. Oh, thank you, Angel. We truly appreciate you more than you know. I need help finding a team to connect and learn. Make a post in the community, whatever that market that you're in. And I wish I know who I was talking to right now. So more so specific, I could kind of help you with that, but more so make a post in the community. There's about 79,000 people in there. So initially, there's a lot of people out there. Appreciate that very much. And likewise, man. You're definitely the real deal. We look up to you. We talk about you all the time, and literally, we think you're doing phenomenal things, man. Keep up great work. Are you guys open and connecting on? one in real Cincinnati could use a PML and a TCI buying whole. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we just expanded our transaction coordinated company. So we definitely we work in all 50 states. A lot of TCs don't work in all 50 states, which is totally fine. There's amazing, credible individuals out there, but we just personally we expanded a little bit, so we work in all 50 states, which has been pretty neat. And Cincinnati, we definitely closed that, especially Ohio, many times, many times before. We've got great connections there, and we definitely get your deal to the finish line. As far as private money lending, yes, if you go to thirdmindrei.com, you'll see either our third mind financing, and or if you're looking for a specific kind of loan or private money lender, then that's connect offline and see what that really looks like for you. Okay. So yeah, again, guys, I know we're streaming from literally Facebook, we're streaming from StreamYard, we're streaming from YouTube, we're streaming everywhere, right? So more so, guys, connect. These recordings will automatically go out to people who's in the StreamYard Air account, and or specifically if you're on YouTube, the recording automatically will be posting. And if you got any questions, concerns, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We're always here. I'm not for sure if our email's up here, but it's info@thirdmindrei.com. And again, it's info@third, that's number 3, RDMINDREI.com. We're always here to help. We really want to see the best version of everyone. And thank you guys again. Thank you, Reggie, for being here. Quick before you go, what are your suggestions for mindset change? Mr. Stan, what are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, dude. I think having these types of conversations certainly help. I think for me, so I guess I'll share a little bit real quick. So being in Alaska put me in a very unique position. For everybody who's watching who doesn't know, I live in Alaska. Chris is in New York, and we have an entire country between us. And so for me, being in Alaska, that was a huge barrier, but it was a huge opportunity for me because I have unique challenges that literally nobody else in the country has. If you're wholesaling, or if you want to do a creative finance, say you want to do a creative finance deal in some barren place in Tennessee, for example, right? And there's no title companies around that area that would do a creative deal. There is a title company is somewhere in the state of Tennessee that you will facilitate that deal for you. There are 0 title companies in Alaska that will do this. There are there's like in let's take Phoenix for example. You got about 1 million buyers in Phoenix. You could literally, if you could lock up 30 deals a month in just Phoenix, you would have no problem finding 30 buyers a month, every single month in Phoenix, right? Or in Tampa, or in Texas, or in California. You think I have that luxury in Alaska? No. There aren't too many people that are real keen on buying igloos. So my buyer pool is very narrow and almost non-existent. So my point being is you can kind of see just a lot of the things and obstacles that I had to overcome. And to top that off, there isn't a big populace up here either. So there isn't like this community that regularly gets together and has these types of high-level conversations. So for me, when it came to a mindset change, mine was purely the circumstances that I was in really helped develop my mindset. And then also, I'm an avid book reader. I'm such an avid, and I used to not be, guys. I used to freaking hate books. I would never read a book. Actually, I never read a book. I didn't really read too many books between after I graduated until like 3 years ago. And then just last year, I read like 43 books. But I'm always, the way that I read my books now, I read 2 at a time, I read 2 at the same time. And I have one that is centered around mindset or personal development. And then I have one where I'm learning a skill. So I'm reading one like about sales, for example. You guys have all heard this book. Yeah, everybody knows who Chris Voss is. Never Split the Difference. Everybody knows you can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. There's a lot of different books that I read on sales and negotiating and things like that. So I'm always reading a book. Maybe it's storytelling, maybe developing that skill. So I've got a book that I'm always reading where I'm building a skill. And at the same time, I've always got a book that I'm reading where it's centered around mindset or personal or self-development. And The Power of One More is a great one by Ed Milet.
Phenomenal one, actually.
Dude, how I start my day, actually, not to keep dragging this on, but how I wake up at 3 a.m. and this is what I do is as soon as my alarm goes off at 3 a.m., I have my AirPods that are sitting on my nightstand. My feet don't even touch the ground. I put my AirPods in, my eyes are still closed. And I grab my phone and I start an audiobook. There's another one by Tim Grover. For those of you guys who don't know who Tim Grover is, he was Michael Jordan's personal, like, I guess you call him fitness coach or athletic coach, or I'm not sure the professional term that he goes by, but he worked hand in hand with Michael Jordan, with Kobe Bryant. And there is some amazing concepts in there centered around mindset and about winning and what winning actually looks like. So I read that one probably like 6 or 7 times last year. But that's kind of my process. That's how I start my day. So I put my AirPods in and I'll put Winning on by Tim Grover. And so by the time I get up, I'm getting dressed. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm getting my protein shake. I'm getting my pre-workout. I'm getting my gym stuff together. And by the time I get to the gym at 3:30, 3:35, somewhere in there, I've already got 35 minutes of a book read that day. And I'm already started drinking my gallon of water for the day. And we can go into like organization and being intentional, like time blocking, all the other kind of stuff on another show. But that's just how I start out my day. And to go in and touch back up on your mindset and what I do, or my suggestion for mindset, that's how I start out my day. I start out my day in the right mindset. I start my day out with somebody already in my ear talking about how to be a freaking winner. That's my foundational. That's where I start for the day. So from there on out, from 3 a.m. till the rest of my day, until I go to bed, that's where my state is. So I would indulge you to get into books and be very intentional with getting in here, networking, talking with people. Talking about, like Chris said, like every opportunity, every circumstance, every meeting, there's an opportunity to increase your mindset, to learn something. And like Chris said, for him getting that first check, and for a lot of people, once you get that first check and you can feel it and touch it and go buy things and do things with it and know that, hey, wholesaling is not illegal, that's a huge mindset. It's like, oh my gosh, now I get it. I actually just had I got a text from somebody. It was a previous student of mine, not real estate student, but I used to be an instructor in the Air Force. And we occasionally, when there was downtime, we would talk about money and we would talk about investing, because that's what I was starting to get into 3 years ago. And I would take what I would learn and I'd come in and I would share that with the class on how they could learn about money and leverage and invest and do all these things and buy properties for nothing. And he texted me, he was either yesterday or the day before, and he's like, dude, like, I know you've been talking about this, but it finally, like, it clicked. It finally clicked. It clicked for me. Like, I understand good debt and bad debt and how to leverage the debt now. Like, I heard you say it, but like it now finally clicked. I understood it. And I'm just like, he's obsessed now, which is freaking amazing. But that's why I'm saying, that's the reason I bring that up, is because it is so pertinent that you are intentional with your mindset. I mean, wouldn't it have been great to be able to, I mean, in my opinion, I'm glad, better late than never, right? But I'm glad, for me personally, I'm glad I was open and receptive to these things, and I was intentional with my mindset right from the get-go, so I didn't have to wait 3 years for it to be like, oh, wow, I get it now. Now I can do it. Now, like I said, better late than never, and that's not a dig on him. That's amazing. All I'm saying is, hey, everybody has the opportunity to get in here. We have technology at our fingertips. Social media is free. Anybody can get in here and start working on themselves and networking and building their tribe of freaking millionaires. You guys can do it in this chat here. Hell, that's why Chris and I got together, was because I was like, hey, I'm going to make $1 million, and I know that Chris is the guy that I want to hold me accountable. So Chris and I didn't actually start out as business partners. We started out as each other's board of it. We were on each other's board of advisors for our businesses. And in being intentional with that, we had only known each other for 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that, before we were like, okay, yes, I know I can see that his mindset is there enough that this is who I want to surround myself with. And because I was looking for that, because I was intentional with that, my brain saw what I needed to get. Almost looked like devil horns for a second, but my brain saw what I needed to get. And so if you can be intentional with that and with those conversations and how you're spending your time, those are going to be where that's where you're going to see the biggest changes in your mindset. Sorry, that was probably like a 10-minute rant, but
no, you're fine. So I just want to point out, Troy, I am working on it right now. You're 100% right. Not for sure. I just reached out to our IT company, and the IT team is actually working on it right now. Not for sure why our website is down, but I'm glad you just brought that to our attention. So they're working on it right now, and hopefully it's up and running within the next hour, but not for sure what happened. But thanks again.
Yeah, and please reach out to us directly, guys. If you guys have, if you guys need anything or there's anything we can do for you, please let us know, or just connect you with somebody else. If you guys don't have anything else for us, Chris, do you have anything else that you would like to add in closing?
Yes, I just want to make sure the schedule for next week doesn't interfere with Pace. I'm looking at Pace's schedule right now. So okay, yeah, we'll be back next week. So anytime we don't do a live show, guys, just want to let you know that's when Pace is doing his live show. So that literally is around the same exact time when we usually start ours. So we just want to make sure that doesn't conflict. But I'm looking at the schedule. He's doing it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we'll be back Saturday. So yeah, to be continued, guys. Thank you guys again for being here. If you haven't followed, I can't speak right now. Follow, like, and share and subscribe. We do got our YouTube channel, The Elephant Show with Jesse and Chris. That is still there. Also, guys, feel free to reach out. There's no dumb questions at all. I truly mean that, and not just myself, but we truly mean that. We had quite 100 million questions when we first started off in real estate. So we understand that if you may have those same questions, you just maybe need a little bit more clarity. So yeah, definitely feel free to reach out. Both of our social medias are right on there. Our Instagrams is right there, right on our faces. Right there. I don't know how to explain that, right there on our faces. But
I think
thanks
that was
again,
it.
guys.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. Thanks for being here. And till then, see you guys next week.